Hello, I'm Iain Macintosh and welcome to Route 1. If you're not familiar with the podcast, this is our debut on YouTube. It's football, fast, no faff, it's never more than 15 minutes. And what we try to do is tell you stuff that's going on around the world of football, but outside the top six, the kind of stuff that other people miss. It's all you need to know. It's probably quite a lot that you don't need to know, but nevertheless, let's go Route 1. Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana has said yes to a loan move to Turkish side Trabzonspor. The deal isn't quite complete yet, but the BBC say the 29-year-old should be in position to make his debut against Fenerbahce this weekend. It brings the curtain down, for the moment at least, but probably forever, on a troubled period for both club and goalkeeper. Onana arrived in 2023 for a fee of nearly £50 million. He was former manager Erik ten Hag's guy. He could play the ball out with his feet. There was talk of him effectively being another outfield player as much as he was a goalkeeper. But as Matt Pizdralski's excellent piece on The Athletic today points out, it's easier to do that in a settled side than it is in the frothing hot mess that is Manchester United. Onana's mistake against Grimsby last week was deemed the final howler. United signed Belgian keeper Sen Lammens from Royal Antwerp on deadline day. No pressure on him now. And so, it's all over. Carl Anker is The Athletic's Manchester United correspondent and a panellist on the excellent Talk of the Devils podcast. Carl, what went wrong?
What to say about Andre Onana as he heads off to Trabzonspor on loan for a season? Well, when he arrived, there was a lot of hype and bluster around him. He had a stunning performance for Inter Milan in the Champions League final against Manchester City, and there was a very convincing argument to me that he ranked among the top 10 goalkeepers in the world at the time. He was an adequate shot stopper, but his standout skill was him with the ball at his feet. Build-up play, short kicks, long kicks, the little chip to the fullback to beat the press. That has become the move du jour amongst goalkeepers. Onana was described as a playmaker in gloves. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. He gets lobbed in a preseason game against Lens. He was maybe 40 yards outside of his own goal. And a slack back pass from Diogo Dallas, so I'm lobbed and embarrassed. And he never really didn't put him in the best footing, if you pardon the pun. His performances in the 2023-24 Champions League group stages are ranked perhaps some of the worst goalkeeper performances you've seen from a single player, unfortunately. And he went a long way to making sure United finished bottom of that group and didn't qualify in Europe at all. Unfortunately, while he had a good calendar year of 2024, where he strung together some decent performances, he rarely convinced in a way you need to be convincing as a Manchester United goalkeeper. To be a Manchester United goalkeeper is to every now and again have a game where the fan base or the manager is going, we would have lost that game if not for our goalkeeper. And Onana, unfortunately, couldn't have those sorts of performances. Constant changes in the back line ahead of him in the injury-afflicted first season meant he never built any consistency. The team was leaking shots because of a bad midfield and an inconsistent front press. So he's leaking shots. His weaknesses are being exposed. He has very little platform to show his strengths. Last season, things got slightly better. Again, calendar year of 2024 was okay. And then when Amarin arrived, because he plays as a back three, you needed less of a goalkeeper to be a playmaker with gloves. You need your goalkeeper to make saves. And 2 or 3 times where Onana didn't make saves. An ill-advised and accidental war of words ahead of a Europa League quarter-final with Lyon. Saw Nemanja Matic call Onana one of the worst goalkeepers, if not the worst goalkeeper in Manchester United history. Only for Onana to then make 2 mistakes in a 2-2 draw at the time. So it was hard for United fans to trust Onana by the end of his time there. And goalkeepers need trust. And unfortunately, United decided to go elsewhere.
And you can find a link to Talk of the Devils in the episode description down there. It is, hands down, the best Manchester United podcast in the world. Well, there's been a lot of football over the weekend. So much football, in fact, that some YouTube shows might shy away from the Herculean task of telling you all about it. Not this show, my friend. Producer Helena, would you fire up your Stratocaster, please? On Friday, Alexander Isak was an unused sub as Sweden drew 2-2 with Slovenia in Group B. Swedish manager John Dahl Tomasson deemed it too risky, given that the man's barely kicked a ball since May. Elsewhere in Group B, Briel Mbolo bagged a brace as Switzerland beat Kosovo 4-0. Steve Clarke returned from Scotland's toughest fixture in Group C with a little more credit and 1 massive point as his side held Denmark to a 0-0 draw. Beat Belarus tonight, be a near perfect weekend for them, and they need it because Greece beat Belarus 5-1. Kylian Mbappe moved level with Thierry Henry on 51 goals for France as Les Bleus beat Ukraine 2-0. Mbappe remained 6 goals behind. Have a guess? Olivier Giroud. But given that Mbappe's only 26, you've got to fancy his chances of overtaking Giroud at some point. Iceland beat Azerbaijan 5-0 in that group. It's a popular score this week. Italy not only did what they had to do in Group I, but they did it in the spirit of the weekend. They beat Estonia 5-0. Israel, they fell one short in beating Moldova 4-0. In Group L, Croatia beat the Faroes 1-0 and Czechia beat Montenegro 2-0. On Saturday, Portugal crushed Armenia, you've guessed it, 5-0, a brace each for the Al Nassr double, João Felix and Cristiano Ronaldo there. Also in Group F, Ireland came back from 2 goals down to rescue a point against Hungary. In Group H, Austria edged past Cyprus 1-0 and Bosnia beat San Marino 6-0. And in the big one in Group K, Serbia snatched what could be a crucial away win in Latvia. Dusan Vlahovic scoring the only goal, while elsewhere England ground out 2-0 victory over Andorra. There was a feast of football on Sunday, including the beginning of Germany's fight back. Remember, they were beaten 2-0 by Slovakia the other night, so they really needed this 3-1 win over Northern Ireland. Slovakia, they're 2 from 2. They beat Luxembourg 1-0. Group E is one of the toughest groups, and Spain are fully in control of it. They obliterated Turkey. Mikel Merino scored a hat-trick. The Arsenal man's now got 6 in his last 6 for Spain, after just 2 in his first 31. Pedri also scored twice in the 6-0 thrashing, while Georgia had a good day too. They beat Bulgaria 3-0. The Netherlands made hard work of Lithuania. They eventually beat them 3-2 with 2 goals from Memphis Depay. That makes Memphis Depay their top goal scorer of all time. I did not expect that information. Poland are second in that group. They beat Finland 3-1. And Group J went as expected. Belgium beat Kazakhstan 6-0. Kevin De Bruyne's opener, by the way. And it's been a while since we've had a 5-0. North Macedonia. They complete this weekend's signature scoreline against Liechtenstein. The WSL returned. Chelsea made a good start to their title defence on Friday night, beating Manchester City 2-1. Arsenal pooped London City's party, beating them 4-1 at the Emirates. That's the same scoreline by which Everton beat Liverpool to maintain their 100% record in WSL derbies at Anfield, thanks mainly to Ornella Vignola's debut hat-trick. And Manchester United are in unstoppable form. God, it's been ages since I said those words. They beat Leicester 4-0. In the 94th minute of Bromley's clash with Gillingham, Bromley were top and the Gills were 5th. Just a few minutes later, Max Clark's controversial penalty saw them swap places. But it wasn't just top spot on the line for Gillingham. Gareth Ainsworth's side are now 19 matches unbeaten, a run that stretches back to March the 4th. Now, Ainsworth is yet to experience defeat as Gillingham's manager. Next Saturday, if they avoid losing at home to Notts County, they'll equal their club record unbeaten run. So, how has Ainsworth turned Gillingham into one of the Football League's most interesting stories? Can they keep this run going? And is it too early to set sights on promotion? We asked Simon Head, the editor of Gillingham FC fan podcast, the ME7. Simon, over to you.
I can't lie, it hasn't been much fun to be a Gills fan over the past decade or so, but now, with new owners rebuilding the relationship between the club and its fans, and a manager who embodies everything that we want to see from a gaffer, things are starting to look up at Priestfield. Under Gareth Ainsworth, the Gills look transformed. Despite keeping the majority of a squad that underperformed under previous managers, Ainsworth has turned the Gills into a team with a never-say-die spirit, and it's shown through in the results so far. Every game we've led, we've won. And crucially, they've shown the ability to keep fighting to the very end of games, to turn losses into draws and draws into wins. Case in point, in the Gills 7 league games so far, they've scored 7 goals in the last 20 minutes with a last-minute winner and 2 stoppage-time equalisers along the way. The most recent Gillingham late show came at Bromley at the weekend where, to be honest, we could have been dead and buried by half-time. It was our worst 45 minutes of the season so far. But good teams find a way, and Ainsworth's Gillingham fought back from 2-0 down to earn a dramatic 2-2 draw. Was the award of a 94th minute penalty harsh on Bromley? Absolutely. But while they will rightly take issue with the referee's decision, Gills fans will focus on the team's refusal to lie down and accept defeat, with Max Clark's spot kick serving as an emphatic exclamation point. For too long now, Gillingham sides have been a bit of a soft touch. Under Ainsworth, though, all that seems to have changed, and this side looks like it might have a real chance of doing something. For the first time in a long time, the Gills are heading in the right direction. Could it end in promotion back to League One? Watch this space.
You can find the ME7 wherever you find your podcasts. You can find me on Twitter, all the information, episode description down there. Little treasure trove of stuff for you. And a big hello to one of our new listeners, Gillingham Ultra David Scoble. It's not been very well recently. Hope you enjoyed that item, Dave, and all the very best to you. There's loads of football for you on TV tonight as we start the second lap of the European World Cup qualifiers. Switzerland can go 2 from 2 if they beat Slovenia. Sweden, who dropped points on Friday, they go to Kosovo. Greece face Denmark in the big one in Group C. We'll learn a lot from that result. And Scotland, they did the hard bit. They got their point from Denmark. Can they do the only marginally less hard bit and take all 3 from Belarus? Italy can scramble into the playoff place if they beat Israel in the night's only Group I game. And in Group L, Croatia can go a long way towards qualification for the playoffs at the very least if they beat Montenegro. And elsewhere, Gibraltar play the Faroe Islands. The Scotland game is on the BBC. Amazon Prime have some of the others, and you can find African qualifiers on FIFA Plus. That was the inaugural YouTube episode of Route 1. We very, very much hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, and maybe listen to the podcast as well. The podcast's great. It's all of the content, but with none of the visuals. You can take it anywhere. We do that. We make it convenient. So that was Route 1. It was Football Fast, No Faff. I've been Iain Macintosh. Your audio producer was Helena Fremantle. Your videographer was Deane Thrussell. Chris Smith was in the writer's room. We'll see you tomorrow.